If you are a homeowner in England and your property is valued at £2 million or more, there is some very important news that you absolutely need to hear about right now. This is especially crucial if you are a retiree or a senior citizen who has worked hard your entire life, paid off your mortgage, and now finds yourself living in a home that has appreciated significantly over the decades. What I am about to share with you could have a profound impact on your finances, your retirement plans, and quite possibly your ability to stay in the home where you have built so many precious memories with your family. For years, politicians and policymakers have debated the idea of introducing a special tax targeting high-value residential properties across England. Many dismissed it as something that would never actually happen, thinking it was just political posturing or empty promises made during election campaigns. However, that time of uncertainty is now over because the government has officially confirmed that this new property tax is becoming a reality, and it is specifically designed to target owners of the most expensive homes in the country. This is not simply another minor adjustment to your council tax bill or a small increase that you might barely notice. This is a significant and targeted measure that could mean thousands of pounds in additional annual expenses for affected homeowners. Chancellor Rachel Reeves has officially announced what is being called a high-value council tax surcharge, which is essentially the long-debated mansion tax that many people thought would never see the light of day. This new tax will come into effect starting in April 2028, giving homeowners a few years to prepare and understand how it might affect their personal financial situation. The announcement is part of a broader government initiative aimed at addressing wealth inequality across the nation and generating new streams of revenue to fund essential public services that benefit everyone in society. Now, here is something particularly important that you need to understand about how this new tax will work in practice. The annual surcharge will be added directly on top of your existing council tax bill, meaning you will be paying both your regular council tax and this additional mansion tax surcharge. However, unlike your regular council tax payments which go to your local council to fund local services like rubbish collection and road maintenance, the money collected from this new surcharge will go directly to the Treasury. This means the funds will be used for national priorities and government spending rather than improving services in your local community. Whether you think this is fair or not, it is the reality of how this new tax has been structured. The government estimates that fewer than 1% of all properties across England will actually be affected by this new tax. But do not let that small percentage fool you into thinking it will not raise significant money. Officials expect this mansion tax to generate approximately £430 million every single year. The government argues that this revenue will help fund essential public services and reduce the financial pressure on other taxpayers who do not own such valuable properties. However, critics argue that this is simply another way of extracting wealth from homeowners who may not have the liquid cash to pay these substantial new bills. The Valuation Office agency will be responsible for identifying exactly which homes cross the £2 million threshold and therefore become subject to this new surcharge. They are planning to conduct a targeted valuation exercise in 2026, which means homeowners will have approximately 2 years to prepare and understand whether their property is likely to be affected. If your property is valued at £2 million or more when that assessment takes place, you will receive an official surcharge notice when the tax officially comes into effect in April 2028. This notice will clearly outline exactly how much you owe and when your payments are due, giving you all the information you need to understand your new financial obligations under this system. Let me break down exactly what you will be expected to pay if your home falls within the scope of this new mansion tax, because the amounts are quite substantial and could catch many people off guard if they are not prepared. If your property is valued between £2 million and £2.5 million, you will face an annual surcharge of £2,500 on top of your existing council tax. For homes valued between £2.5 million and £3.5 million, the annual surcharge rises to £3,500. Properties worth between £3.5 million and £5 million will be subject to a yearly surcharge of £5,000. And if your home is valued at over £5 million, you will be looking at an annual surcharge of £7,500 every single year. These are flat annual surcharges that get added directly to your existing council tax bill, and the system creates some very sharp cut-off points that could seem quite unfair to many homeowners. Just £1 over a threshold means your tax bill jumps significantly higher to the next band. The government argues that those who own the most valuable homes in the country can certainly afford to pay a bit more towards public services and national priorities. However, not everyone who owns an expensive property on paper actually has the spare cash available to pay these substantial new bills, and this is where the real problems begin for many ordinary families and retirees. Here is something else that is absolutely critical to understand about this mansion tax. It is not a static, fixed tax that will stay the same year after year. The tax is specifically designed to change and adapt as the years go by, so homeowners absolutely cannot expect their tax bill to remain constant for very long. The surcharge rates will rise in line with inflation, meaning that as the general cost of living increases across the economy, the amount you owe in mansion tax will also increase correspondingly. This ensures that the tax keeps pace with economic changes and does not lose its value over time, but it also means your bills will keep growing even if your personal circumstances remain exactly the same. On top of the annual inflation adjustments, the tax will also be reassessed every 5 years when the Valuation Office conducts new property valuations across the country. This regular review process means your property's value will be checked and recalculated, and your tax band could potentially change even if you have not made any improvements or alterations to your home whatsoever. The surcharge rates are only officially fixed for the very first year of the scheme, which runs from April 2028 to March 2029. After that initial year, the rates are completely open to change based on government policy decisions, and you will need to keep a close eye on official announcements to understand what you might owe. From the second year of the scheme onwards, the rates will increase annually in line with the Consumer Prices Index, which is the standard measure of inflation used across the economy. This means your tax bill could go up every single year, even if your personal circumstances and your property's value remain completely unchanged. So even if your home stays at exactly the same value according to official assessments, your tax bill will still grow over time simply because of inflation adjustments built into the system. This could put significant extra pressure on household budgets, and it is particularly concerning for those living on fixed incomes such as pensioners and retirees who may have limited ability to increase their income to match rising costs. Every 5 years when the Valuation Office conducts their property revaluations, the process could pull even more homes into the mansion tax net or push existing taxpayers into higher tax bands depending on how property prices have changed in the intervening years. If house prices continue to rise as they have done historically, more and more homeowners will find themselves affected at each revaluation cycle, and some may discover they are suddenly paying significantly more than they were before. Escaping the tax now does not guarantee you are safe in the future, because even if your property is not taxed today, it could easily be caught in the next round of revaluations as property values continue their upward trajectory. This tax will hit London and the southeast of England particularly hard because high-value homes are heavily concentrated in these regions, especially in exclusive boroughs like Kensington, Chelsea and Westminster, where property prices have soared to extraordinary levels over recent decades. Many of the homeowners who will be affected by this new mansion tax are not actually billionaires or extremely wealthy individuals at all. They are ordinary families or retirees who simply bought their homes decades ago when prices were much more affordable and have watched the value of their properties increase dramatically over the years through no action of their own. Even relatively modest homes in these expensive areas can now easily exceed the £2 million threshold that triggers this new tax liability. The biggest concern that housing experts and consumer advocates have raised is the plight of asset-rich but cash-poor homeowners, and this is particularly relevant for seniors and retirees watching this video right now. Many pensioners and long-term residents may own homes that are now worth millions of pounds on paper, but they have very limited income in their retirement years to actually pay these substantial new tax bills. A £2,500 annual surcharge, or even higher amounts in the upper bands, represents a very real financial hardship for someone living on a modest pension who bought their home many years ago when it was worth a fraction of its current value. These are not wealthy people swimming in cash, they are ordinary citizens who happen to buy property in areas that have since become extremely expensive. Younger families with large mortgages who have stretched themselves financially to buy homes in expensive areas could also struggle significantly to find the extra cash needed to pay these surcharges on top of their already substantial housing costs. The fundamental problem with this tax is that it does not consider the homeowner's ability to actually pay. It only looks at the property's value on paper. This disconnect between theoretical wealth and actual available cash could force many families into extremely difficult decisions, including potentially downsizing and moving away from communities where they have lived for years or even decades. It could disrupt established communities and deter families from moving up the property ladder in areas where prices are high. A house is not a liquid asset that you can easily convert to cash to pay bills. You cannot simply sell off a few bricks from your home to cover your tax liability. The policy risks hitting people who are not truly wealthy in any practical sense. They just happen to own property that has increased significantly in value over time. The government has promised that there will be a support scheme available for those who genuinely cannot afford to pay, but the details remain frustratingly vague at this stage. A public consultation is planned for 2026 to help design this safety net and determine exactly who will qualify for assistance and under what circumstances. The most likely solution being discussed is some form of deferral scheme where eligible homeowners could postpone their mansion tax payments until a later date. Under such an arrangement, the tax plus accumulated interest would be settled when the property is eventually sold or inherited by the next generation. This approach avoids immediate financial hardship for struggling homeowners, but ultimately reduces the value of any future inheritance they might leave to their children or grandchildren. Key questions about exactly who will qualify for this deferral scheme, what interest rate will be charged on deferred payments, and how the application process will work remain completely unanswered at this stage. The 2026 consultation will be absolutely crucial for shaping fair and practical support mechanisms. Perhaps the most concerning aspect of this entire mansion tax scheme is that the £2 million threshold is not set to rise with inflation over time. As property prices continue their historical upward trend, more and more homes will inevitably be dragged into the tax net with each passing year and each revaluation cycle. What might seem like a distant problem affecting only the ultra-wealthy today could soon become a reality for many more ordinary homeowners simply because property values tend to rise over time, especially in sought-after areas of the country. If your home is currently worth between £1.5 and £2 million, you are effectively sitting in the waiting room for this tax. It is only a matter of time before rising property values push you over the threshold and into the mansion tax brackets. If you found this information helpful and want to stay informed about all the latest developments in UK property news and how government policies might affect your home and your finances, please do subscribe to this channel right now and hit that notification bell so you never miss an important update. We are committed to bringing you the most accurate and timely information about changes that could impact your property, your retirement, and your financial security. Your support means everything to us, and together we can navigate these challenging times and make sure you are always prepared for whatever changes come our way. Thank you so much for watching, and please share this video with any friends or family members who might be affected by this new mansion tax.